Yo, this hot, this the spot, there it is, pod.com. We're interviewing the best comedians, so tune in quick and get your ears receiving them. We talking about life and life to stream right to you, from the microphone right to your home, dude. Side note, this might get embarrassing, but no, don't sweat, yo, cause there it is.
Welcome to the There It Is podcast, the comedy podcast to help you find your inspiration. I'm your host, Jason Farr. Let's do this. Thanks so much for joining us. We have an excellent episode today with comedian Viv Ford. Really unique chat that we have with her because we talk about comedy and get a peek into the world of crypto, something we've not done on the podcast before. She has a show coming up, a TV show, coming out on December 3rd through Roman Coppola's Decentralized Pictures. It's called The Crypto Castle, about her time at the Crypto Castle in San Francisco. We talk about the making of that show, improv, and more. It's great. Let's get right to it. Here's my chat with Viv Ford. Before that, I met you at the Armory because you were on a team there at the time. Are you still doing improv shows anywhere?
Yeah, I'm still doing the Armory. Still doing on a different team now. We do. I don't know. Maybe I was doing the same form. We're doing the Slacker form on Kid Brother.
Cool.
Yeah, it's a joy.
Awesome, great. So the Armory, there are a lot of super talented people performing there. What are the nights of the house team shows? Like, how does that work there?
So basically, every Friday, the Armory has shows at the Tank, and your team probably is on like an every 2-week cycle, and sometimes you have 2 in a row, sometimes you have 1 in a month, but on average you're going about every 2 weeks performing.
Gotcha. Well, people should check it out. And
yeah, it's so fun. It's like really so low key and fun.
Yeah. So I know you're from Massachusetts, and
Did you that, or did you do your research?
I did a little research,
Oh, that's out there. That's crazy.
I know you went to Vassar as well, and you did get into crypto,
right?
In a not weird way.
Yeah, and then through drugs or the Silk Road.
Right. Yeah, you're not like creating fake Instagram accounts to message people. You're not that kind of crypto.
No, and if I were, you wouldn't know.
I guess I wouldn't know. I mean,
but
with
I appreciate
my
you
research,
thinking that I'm not that kind of person.
What was your background in college? Like what? And I think weren't you out in San Francisco at one point?
Yeah, I was out in San Francisco for 4 years. My background in college, I just like every single lost person in a liberal arts school, I just did like a multidisciplinary major. I just did science, technology, and society, which is not really a real thing. I mean, and then I minored in economics because I was just like, that'll look good. But I had nothing to do with crypto. I had no intention. I was like super jazzed on tech in general. I wrote my senior thesis on Google Glass, but beyond that, I didn't care. Yeah.
I remember Google Glass.
I know they were too ahead of their time.
They were.
Yeah.
It was very much like they were trying to appease the people who were like, why don't we have flying cars and all that kind of stuff we saw in movies? So they're like, Google Glass?
Yeah. And I really credit Google for trying, but every single hardware product they launch is just a beautiful failure.
What was your thesis? What did it entail?
It was okay. So it really was. Well, so first of all, I got my hands on the one copy of a Google Glass we had in like the computer department at Vassar. And I basically wrote a thesis about how this product had failed because it wasn't, I mean, it sounds like it was a good thesis. I don't think it really was. I was just like, and failed because it was too ahead of its time or whatever. And like Vogue had done this like 7-page spread on Google Glass, and like it was all futuristic, and like props to Google for getting Vogue to do a spread, but like it went nowhere and no one was like, these are cool. So.
Oh, that's too bad. Yeah, I am glad that your thesis was like, hey, this didn't work, as opposed to this was such a good idea.
Totally. Yeah, it was like, this didn't work. Actually, I flew out to San Francisco for a Google Glass developer conference. They like allowed me to go out there if I volunteered. They like covered the ticket. And then when I was in SF, this was like towards the end of my senior year, I was like, man, I got to move out here. This place is wild.
Wow. So you were there for 4 years. And at this point in time, had you done any comedy?
I was in an improv group in college for 3 years. So I was like, doing improv shows and having fun in that capacity.
Awesome. And what made you want to get involved with improv?
I was on the track team and cross country team, and a buddy of mine was starting an improv group, and he was like, "Hey, you should audition." And I was like, "Okay." And
Mm.
so I ended up auditioning for all of the troops, and I got callbacks for multiple. And then I was like, "Wow, I'm gonna have to choose. This is gonna be hard." But then I didn't have to choose. I just got on my buddies. So
That's awesome. So before that, were you ever like, oh, I'd like to do comedy, or were you just someone who was funny with your friends?
like neither. I mean, I grew up with really no. I grew up with such limited access to media. Like I was allowed one movie on Sundays a week, and that was it. So like,
Really?
yeah. So like, I don't have cultural references that people have that are like funny. And like my version of funny was like singing in the rain. I forget his name, Danny O'Connor or
Mm.
something, being hilarious and like singing the song, like make them laugh. Like that was truly my idea of comedy. So I really didn't have this idea of like, oh my God, to be a comedian or anything of the sort. I had no reference point.
Okay. Can we go back for a second? Why were you only allowed the one movie?
Well, Jason, when you're raised by two professors, they're strict with your screen time. So they just kind of gave me and my sister 30 minutes of computer on Saturdays and then one movie on Sundays.
Wow. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't
But
blame them.
you know what? I found the way out, which was we started watching like Friends, the TV show, and we get the box DVD sets. And the beautiful thing about that is like there's no beginning or end. So you can just like watch them. So I would just like start to watch like 3 hours of Friends in the morning on Sundays. And like my mom would have no idea. She'd think it was a movie.
Yeah, you can watch so much of it. It's like, oh, I'm just watching my movie of the week.
Yeah. The movie's just continuing. Not my fault.
So yeah, okay, so you did have that exposure to comedy as well.
Yeah.
Well, it's so interesting that you got into comedy from that perspective. How do you think when you were first starting in improv, how do you think that helped or maybe even challenged you?
Yeah, I think you know what? Actually, my mom gave me Tina Fey's book when I think I was like 16 or whenever it first came out. And I loved her so much. I loved
Mhm.
like her just like desire to continue and like create things. And so I think that like when I was doing improv, I was just clocked into the fact that she had done improv.
Oh, okay.
That's so cool. This woman that I think is like the bee's knees and has accomplished so much started in this field. But it was never like, you know, for me, college was about doing like every extracurricular possible. So it was just like one thing slated in there as well. There was never this idea of like, oh, I have found my place. You know, it
Yeah.
was fun. I mean, people were so funny. I would laugh on stage.
Right.
That's so fun.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I also was inspired by her because I loved 30 Rock
Yeah.
and knew about, I think around when 30 Rock was on is when I found out about like Ass Cat and started watching DVDs and stuff. And it's like, oh yeah, this I'd love to do this style of improv.
Yeah.
And Tina Fey, knowing her background in it as well, was another thing of like, well, she's great. She's one of my heroes. So yeah, I totally feel you on that. So when you go to San Francisco, did you continue doing improv?
No, I didn't for probably like 3 years. I just stopped. I moved into this house called the Crypto Castle
Yeah,
and moving to San Francisco. And so
right.
my world is just immediately like completely flipped 180 degrees. And
Yeah,
I have no idea what these men around me are doing. And I have an entirely new education of like how to think about the world ahead of me
yeah.
that I don't even think about improv until about 3 years later when I'm like, wait, I missed that. That was so fun. And so then I popped into end games in San Francisco and like the classic trope of like, you have to start at level one. So I like went through, I think like 2 or 3 levels and kind of putzed around there.
Oh, cool. Okay. And so let's talk about the Crypto Castle because it does end up overlapping with your comedy life. You sort of accidentally moved into this house.
Entirely. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to give away anything from the show that you've done about all this, but how was it accidental?
Yeah, I moved to San Francisco and I was coming from the East Coast. I hadn't like set foot there when I was trying to find places. And so the one spot that accepted me was this woman, Jocelyn, in her closet. Like she had a closet, but she had just shown me on FaceTime so quickly that I was just like, whatever, a place to call home, perfect. And so I move in and there's this like huge dog that actually not a huge dog, a French bulldog, but it doesn't like me and I'm like scared of it. And I'm like, I can't live here. And one night I'm out with friends and I run into a guy I had gone to preschool and elementary school with back in Massachusetts.
Mm-hmm.
And we started talking, whatever, we kissed, and then we exchanged numbers. And then that was great because the next day he was like, hey, do you want to come over and make out? And I was like, no, but I really do need a room. So if you have a place to live for me, that'd be great. I know you live in like a big house. And he was just like, yeah, one guy is actually moving out at the end of the month. He was like, do you want to move into my closet and cook me dinner? And I was like, dude, I don't even know how to cook. Like that would not be good for anyone. And I'm in a closet. I'm looking for a room. And yeah, he was like, sure, come over and yeah, we have a room. And so I walk in and immediately I just like walk into this house that's just like, you know, three guys on their laptops in the living room just coding intensely. And I'm like, this is just so different than what I know and just like feels so fun. Like I just have to commit.
Yeah, that's very interesting. So I'll let people go see the show to find out what happened with the boy you kissed. But
Right.
but how long were you in that house with them?
4 years.
And
I was there
then
for 4 years. I ended up moving in and the house was pretty crazy. There was like it just like roommates would come in and out. So you were never living in the same home. And so a guy ended up moving into the basement who was starting his own self-driving car startup. And
wow.
within 6 months, I had quit my job and started working full-time for him. And the place was in the basement. And so I ended up just like living there for 4 years, my entirety of San Francisco. And then I moved out of San Francisco. But it was like basically moved out after 4 years finally. But it was constantly a different apartment the whole time.
Yeah. So did you move to New York right after that?
No, I actually moved to San Diego. I followed the company I was working with, and we moved down to San Diego. And I was there for a year. I had the intention of I wanted to do the classic, you know, mid-20s white woman thing of traveling the world.
Mhm.
And so I was like, I'm going to stay, you know, companies in how startups do it is they basically like guarantee you equity over the course of 4 years. So you have these like kind of a golden handcuff of like, I have to stay for a certain amount of time to get the equity promised in this company. But in my head, I was like, after the 4 years, I'm going to go travel. And so basically decided after 4 years, 2019, we moved to San Diego. I'm like, I'm going to be here for a year and then I'm going to leave. And then 2020 hits and, you know, the pandemic hits. But I basically was like, I had a plan and I have a French passport. I'm going to just go and live on farms. And so I abandoned ship and I booked a one-way ticket and I ended up doing 24 countries over the course of a year. I took 37 COVID tests and I just traveled the world, living on farms, living outside.
Wow. That is amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. It was
what did travel teach you about yourself and the world? How did it impact you?
Well, so ironically, I would show up on these farms with these people that were like completely far away from any sort of society whatsoever. And then they would ask me like, hey, can you actually teach me about crypto? And I'd be like, okay, crypto is beyond what I thought it was. You know, I left the crypto castle. I was like working in AI. I was like working on self-driving cars. And then I was like, I travel, you know, halfway across the world. And what they want to know is like, how do I set up a Coinbase wallet to do a recurring Bitcoin buy order? Because I want to like make some money. And like the narrative was always like, I want to like make a lot of money. And you're like, well, make a lot, lose a lot, you know? But that was kind of an eye-opening moment of like, crypto is so embedded in this world in such a weird way.
Yeah. So when you do come back to the US, is that when you moved to New York?
Yes. So I'm basically on a farm in Panama and I decide, okay, I am going to do like 100% all in. I'm gonna go to the place people want to go. I had been so alone for this trip for the last year that I was like, where do most people want to go in the world? And I basically asked myself, if you were to ask all 8 billion people of the world, name your top 3 places that you want to live, I'd imagine that New York would come up most of the time. And so it's like, okay, I'm going to go to New York.
Yeah. So when you move here, when does improv come back in the fold?
So I actually started doing improv again in San Diego. And
Oh, okay.
in San Diego, I got connected with Finest City Improv, which was a beautiful improv community. And I did so much improv. Was a member of an indie team. I jumped into level 3. I got so lucky with the people in my class, dear friends that, like one of whom I'm still very close with. And I committed deeply to improv that year. And then actually, when the pandemic around April, when everything was pretty shut down, I started like thinking about this story of the crypto castle because I'd kept a journal. And like,
Hmm.
when I first moved in, one Bitcoin was $250. And by the time I left, Bitcoin had hit $20,000. So there was such a story behind this, like, not even rags to riches, but like nerds to riches, but like guys who don't even necessarily want to be rich. Like they're not trying to like do insane things. And so I just kind of like started to climb to like better understand how do I actually create this story in a way that I can present it.
Interesting. And did you do any, I mean, you're on farms, but did you do any comedy while you were traveling?
I was just writing the show and I was reading it for people. So I
Ah,
was like, basically started writing this show and I was like, okay, I'm going to perform it for like friends and family on the road. And so I would do like snippets. I remember I performed to these girls I was traveling with in Peru in this like on this farm in Peru with like it was like a dog sanctuary. And I was like, okay, here's the first part of it. I performed it for my aunt and her friend in Italy. I just kept performing bits of it and kind of writing the ideas of this show together that I like had in mind of the story of the crypto castle. Still like completely unsure how it would develop, how it would really feel.
gotcha. That's dope. That's really
Yeah.
cool.
Thank you.
And so you've toured that show a lot.
Yeah.
You've been in Edinburgh with it, right?
Yeah, exactly. I wrote it. I like got serious. Nothing happens unless you get serious about something. Otherwise, it's
Yeah.
just a hobby project and it'll last for decades. So I
Hmm.
got serious about it probably about 3 years ago, and I basically heard two things. I heard one, your most productive time of your day is 2 hours, basically like 4 hours after your lowest basal metabolic rate, which happens about 2 hours before you naturally wake up. So for me, I was naturally waking up around 8, which means 10 a.m. It was my most productive time. And I was like, okay, 10 a.m. most productive time. Who am I giving my most productive self to? If I'm giving it to my work, like they can take your second best self. That's fine. But
Yeah.
make sure that your first best self goes to you. So
Oh,
from
that's
10 to
good.
noon, I would just write for about 6 months, putting together this show. And then I performed it, got a great director, Elizabeth Bennett, performed it for the first time in December 2023. And then people were like, Fringe. And I was like, what's that? And I was like, okay. And then kind of pulled it together, performed it in Edinburgh Fringe, performed it on the side of crypto conferences, which was brilliant because they would pay you to go and perform this show. So I performed it, I think, 50 times around the world in Hong Kong and Vietnam and Edinburgh and Canada and LA and Denver, all around.
Hmm.
And then in Edinburgh, TV producers were like, oh, this is interesting. We'd like to make a show out of this.
Yes. Okay. So the solo comedy show is New Kids on the Blockchain. Great
Yes.
name.
Great.
And the name of the TV show is The Crypto Castle.
Yes, exactly. The
And
Crypto
it's
Castle.
out on December 3rd.
Yes, exactly. You are good with your research. It's out on December 3rd. It's gonna drop on. We're backed by Decentralized Pictures Plus, which is a project from Roman Coppola and Leah Matchett,
Hmm.
and basically their attempt to democratize film funding and put like streaming platforms on the blockchain. If that doesn't mean anything to you, that's so fine. It shouldn't. I told them that this will fail if people have to know anything about Bitcoin. You need to anything about crypto in general. If your requirement for people to use your platform is to understand crypto, you're done. So basically, it's just a streaming platform, but it's cool. You can like kind of make money off of the things you see, and the idea is like help fund the things that we want to see. And so they backed it. It'll launch we did 7 episodes, 10 minutes each. The full episodes will launch on that in wide version, and then we'll launch the vertical versions on all socials everywhere, likely over the course of a week, but I'm in the midst of my marketing meetings figuring out what makes sense for the
Yeah.
launch plan.
And I noticed my buddy Nate Wise is in it. Nate is awesome.
Nate's everyone's buddy.
Yeah. He's super easy to love.
Yeah,
He's such a nice guy, such a funny guy.
Yeah, he's great. He plays a wonderful French guy.
Yeah. I bet he's great in it. So
He
people
is.
need to check that out.
Yeah.
Be on the lookout for that. And another friend who I've seen you work with, I just noticed you just started popping up doing these online videos with Alexis Gay, who I just don't think I can love more.
Yeah.
I think she's amazing. And anytime I see her, whether it's on Instagram or bumping into her on the street like I did once, it just always brightens my day. She's the
Yeah,
best.
Alexis rocks. I met her at Fringe actually at
Oh,
Edinburgh
yeah, that's
because all
right.
of half of Edinburgh is New York. So
Right.
I met her there, which was great. And then we did, yeah, I think we've done 2 sketches together.
Yeah, yeah, they were funny. She does
Yeah.
amazing sketches.
Yeah.
I think she approaches doing online comedy very, very well.
Oh,
Uh,
she's the absolute she's done so well with how she's like done this stuff. Everyone's following her basically. You know,
yeah,
this girl in like I don't know how many years ago was like, okay, sketch comedy, sketches online and like things for people to like rapidly like and get a hang of seeing all the time. Like, you know, I think
right.
she really had just kind of her pulse a pulse on whatever it is to build whatever brand industry thing
Yeah.
ahead of most people, to be honest.
Right, honestly, and it it just feels like legit comedy and they're just good sketches and they don't feel like content
Right. Right.
because it's so well written, produced, and performed.
Right.
And
Exactly.
it just also has a sensibility about it that just I think I don't know the right word for it. I'll say it takes itself more seriously than a lot of content does. But it almost seems like the wrong kind of word to express what I'm trying to express, but I just mean it's really great stuff and it doesn't feel like a lot of content feels. It
Yeah. I
feels
mean,
like this could be on television somewhere.
exactly. She's a professional. She cares about
Yes.
quality to a degree
Yeah.
that I think most people give up quality, but she won't ever give up quality, which is like really impressive, especially when you're doing stuff online and people are just giving you 10 seconds, if that, of their time.
Right.
But I think I would assume her MO is like, don't sacrifice quality because she's everything she does is honestly quality.
Yeah. Yeah. So did you help with writing those or were you basically cast in it? How does that work?
Yeah, I helped with writing them. I think she wanted to do like more crypto type stuff, and she happened to know a gal in crypto, which was me. And
Yeah.
so we wrote them together and then we filmed them and it was great. It was kind of like my first foray into doing the whole like writing to filming part to even like seeing how the editing came together, which was really cool to see. Previously, I had not had like the full open experience of all that. You're either helping with like one of those aspects. And so that was really cool to see too.
Yeah, so great. Yeah, you're working with such amazing people. You also are amazing. You're super great. You modestly
Depends on the day, Jason. Depends on
well,
the
I mean,
freaking
I do
day.
know because I did get to sub coach the team that you were on, and you did ask for some tips or advice, and I was like, "You're amazing. What are you talking about? Like, what are you
Thank
asking
you.
me for?"
Yeah.
I was like, "I feel like I need to get tips from you. You have such strong instincts with comedy. Do you think that comes from just having started so young in college, or what?"
My buddy texted me once, and I'll never forget this. I sent him like something that I was working on. He was like, you know, it's incredible. You're so funny when you don't try, but then when you try, you lose it. And I
That's
was
true
like,
for everybody.
yeah,
That's
it's
for
like,
sure.
thank you for the honest feedback. And I think it's like, yeah, I think reacting to life in a way that like can add a touch of humor to me is the most divine thing in the world. And that is what improv is. It's like you're in a normal situation and you just react in a way that like is either normal or not normal with like a touch of humor that like lands so well with people because they're like either they're like I would do the same thing
Mhm.
or they're like that's a clever take on this thing. And I think that like yeah, I don't know. I don't even I mean it's funny. I don't even see it as comedy. I see it as just like interacting and just
Right.
like like being aware of the world around you and then describing it, you know?
Yeah. I think that is a good layer to have in comedic work
Yeah.
because when people are pushing the joke, sometimes, it works,
Yeah.
right? But there are also those times when it just doesn't work.
Yeah,
And
totally.
it's because it lacks something. And so when you have these other elements of like, well, what's true? Like they talk about truth in comedy and improv, or what just feels real here, then I think it gives it a certain layer of integrity or quality that otherwise wouldn't be there.
Yeah, yeah, totally. And it's funny because I think that some people will do a joke that's not funny, but they'll know how to push it to where it gets funny.
Yeah.
And they'll push it like past uncomfortable, and then it's funny. And that's like the most incredible skill, that like you have to be so comfortable with yourself and have
Right.
so much faith in your abilities. And I'm mesmerized by those people.
Yeah. Random question here, because I remember you told us some tips on credit cards, something about, or like the
Probably sounds like
points.
me. Yeah, the point system.
Yeah. Can
For
you
sure.
remind me of what that is? This may be helpful. I know this is maybe a step away from comedy, but while I
Well,
have you here, let's
to
help the
just so I
people.
know what I'm about to preach, we're talking about credit card points, right?
Yes.
Okay, great, great, great. Yeah, I mean, credit card points are like literally it's like an entire industry in and of itself. It's
Yeah.
absolutely incredible, especially airline points. Like there's people that just buy like millions of airline points and then flip them and then can like get really good deals on like first class tickets and stuff. And I am a big the points guy is a really great guy to follow. He has a lot of his old articles were really great. I'm not really sure how much he's doing now,
Mhm.
but basically like airline credit or sorry, credit card points are something that everyone should be doing at all times. And there's just some like great cards out there that get you like 4x points on like if you go out to restaurants a lot, or if you go out like to grocery stores a lot or whatever. And then, you can either flip that for like, money off of an Amazon purchase, or like points towards a flight that you're taking. And it's just money in your pocket.
How much of that did you utilize when you were traveling the world?
You know what? I sold a Bitcoin to travel the world.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's how I managed that. So, and the thing about credit card points, like a lot of these countries I was going to, a lot of places didn't accept credit cards. So actually it was kind of a lost cause there, that, it was a very cash heavy place
Yeah.
that I would find myself in. So
Mhm.
unfortunately I didn't utilize it that much, but
Ah,
I went to New Zealand 3 weeks ago on a bike trip, and I did utilize my points for that. So
that's good.
yeah.
Do any of these credit card points that you've gathered over the years, has it helped you when trying to develop the TV show or anything like that? Did any sort of logic come to be of benefit to you when you're like trying to get a camera for the shoot or something like that?
I mean, it's just kind of a way of thought, and how it's
Yeah.
like, how do you think about the world? If you
Mhm.
think about the world with how you can make it work for you, then how I made the TV show was the same way. Like I had no business making a TV show. I seriously had never done it before, and I had no. There was like, I went to a dear friend of mine, Noah Margov, who was an incredible director, and we sat down for drinks, and I was like, I'm going to film a pilot in 3 weeks, and she said, "You're nuts," and I said, "It's only going to be 10 minutes. It's not going to be a problem at all." I was like, 10 minutes? You can film that in 2 hours. Don't kid yourself. 10 minutes took us 2 days. But
Yeah.
thankfully she was like, okay, this is what you need. And like, I think it's a way of seeing the world same as points, of just like, how do you make this work for you? Because what you want to do can be done. You just have to figure out how to do it the way
Right.
that you're going to want to do it. And
Right.
I think a lot of people are, I don't know if it's scared of thinking that way or if it feels selfish, but it's like, I don't see it as either. I see it as kind of like, the world is the world the way you've been handed it, and like, so do what you can with it, and
Yeah.
make however you can, make the things you want to make through that.
Yeah, there is that hesitancy with people, and sometimes they just don't feel the audacity to do it. Like they're just like, "Who am I to
Totally.
do
But
it?
who is literally anyone?
Who
Look
is
at our
anyone?"
president. Like, he shouldn't be president, and he is. Like, who is literally anyone to do
Right,
anything,
right, absolutely. It's like, why not you?
Yes, exactly. Why, literally, why not you?
Yeah, sometimes it's like people just feel like it's like they need the permission, or in other cases, something slightly similar. It's not that they need the permission; it's more that they just need to realize they can do it that way.
Yeah, I think it's also maybe a fear thing, where it's like, oh, if I can actually do this, then I'm doing it. And then what if it
Yeah,
fails? Do I want to do
right,
this?
right.
And that's, to be honest, my narrative these days is, don't have dreams. Dreams are just going to stop you from doing things.
Mm,
Just like, have the desire to expend energy, and then do it in the things you want to do. Because if you
mm,
have dreams, you have such high risk. It's like, what
yeah,
if this fails? That's so intense, like, yeah, what if it fails? And that was
yeah.
your one dream. Jesus.
Yeah. And also, right now in this era that we're in, I feel like there are a lot of people out there that tell us this is how you have to do it. Like, if you want
Yeah.
this, then you have to do it this way. If you want this, then you've got to behave like this on social media.
Yeah, I think the thing too is like, people are very scared of like, it's actually fun you say that. I would say it's almost the opposite. I'd say these days we are now kind of like the one gift of all of this like tech and everything that I know is like scary in some way is that the rules are no longer written and the rules don't apply. And so like how the rules had applied, been written before, like it's all new, baby. So
Yeah.
redefine it how you want to redefine it. Because like, especially look at YouTube. YouTube has been the greatest equalizer of content creation in God knows how long. Like, who is Netflix's biggest competitor? It's YouTube.
Yeah.
It's not Hulu. And also, Netflix is a tech company. It's not an entertainment company.
Yeah.
So it's like you can reframe how these things have like taken control of our minds and how we think we need to go through the process of like creation.
Mhm.
It's like you can create. I mean, this camera, your iPhone camera is the best camera out there by a long shot compared to until you get to Alexis and whatever.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know. I think that's so exciting. And like, same with AI. Like, sure, of course, it's like terrifying in its own way. But God, what if you mess up a shot and you need to just like edit it up? Great. That's going to
Yeah.
save a lot of people a lot of money and time.
Yeah. I think it is great for people to look at, well, what is at my disposal and how can I just do what I want to do with it, as opposed to doing what I think is the perfect way or the way you're supposed to do it or the way it's supposed to go. And then, of course, you've got all of the why me sort of stuff, like why should I
Totally.
do it, or do I deserve that kind of thing?
Totally.
But yeah, if you want to do something, just go ahead and do it the way you want to do it. I feel like we don't have enough of that now,
Yeah.
unfortunately. I mean, I just
Yeah.
grew up with a lot of people just being their unique selves. And now it's like I see so many performers who it seems like they're trying to play the same character or something because they all have the same mannerisms or the same sort of speech pattern or say the same kind of things. And I'm like, what is it you want to do? Like, we want to see you.
I know, but I don't think that's ever been different. I think this is a fake narrative about the world. I
Is
think
it?
this is, yeah, dude, people don't change. For 30,000 years, our brains haven't really changed. We've only like, we've mimicked forever.
That's true. But from the stuff that I grew up on in the 80s and 90s, people weren't, I've seen a huge shift in the last 10 years with actors.
Mhm.
And not like Broadway performers, but like improvisers maybe, and then like some TV actors, probably
Interesting.
particularly. And I have seen a big shift. And when I would watch any show in the 80s, any show in the 90s, any movie in that time period, I did not see people who they didn't have the same mannerisms.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, totally.
I don't know. It's just a weird thing I've noticed the last 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, well, like I said, I didn't really consume content when I was younger, so my baseline is now as normal. So quite possibly that is, yeah, the direction that it's going.
There's still actors who it feels fresh and real, but there's something that I'm noticing in younger actors, particularly who are on TV, maybe particularly procedurals too, where it's like, what is going on? Like but I wonder if that's just the difference between like the training for
Generations.
stage acting versus the film, on camera acting teaching that people have.
Yeah. I think it's the big question is like, are these people trying to make art with a capital A or are they trying to make entertainment? And neither is
Sure.
better or worse. It's just like
Yeah.
two different
different
sides
things.
of, yeah.
Yeah. But to your point, there was a ton of mimicry, right?
Yeah,
Like,
of course.
there was Raphael seeing Michelangelo's work and being like, oh, I want to do that.
Mhm.
Sort of thing.
Exactly.
I'm going to do that.
And probably like 100 others that we don't talk about,
Sure. Yeah.
you know?
Oh, yeah. And then, of course, like in music, there are a ton of guitarists who are going to watch like Buddy Guy or BB King and then
Right.
like stealing their licks, right?
Right.
Like that sort of mimicry certainly existed. And then, people just living their everyday lives too would be like, that guy has that car. I want a car like that. Or like,
Right. How do I
white
get
picket
that car?
fence.
Yeah,
Like there was like a conformity that happened.
How do
for
I,
sure.
yeah, exactly. Get a wife like that.
Yeah. But now, I just think, I guess it goes back to like what I appreciate about Alexis Gay versus some other things. Like, I feel like what she's doing feels fresh. Whereas like what I see other people doing doesn't feel as fresh. It feels a little more redundant's not the word. What is it when it's like affected by whatever that is, like a carbon copy sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so I tend to not like a lot of things when I get a sense of that.
Yeah.
But there are also still great people out there right now.
Right. Right. Yeah.
We're in a lucky time because we could see so much of that.
Yeah. Yeah. Lucky or distracting. Unlucky. Yeah. Choose your poison.
That's fair. I see my screen time.
Yeah, exactly.
My phone tells me every week. I'm like, really, that much time? I could have gotten some other things done that I needed.
God. That's real. That's so real.
Maybe your parents were right. Maybe I should just do like 30 minutes of computer and one movie on Sundays or something.
I mean, that was the 90s. I don't know if it's I mean, it is possible, but it's just like, what's the goal? You gotta be like, what is the goal here? And like, based on that, what am I doing with all this stuff?
Yeah, what is the goal? That is, I think, a good attitude to have. And that's sort of what you're talking about like make it work for you, like figuring it out for you. Is that how you got into it? Is like, what is my goal here? And just being focused on that?
Actually, no, ironically, everyone was like, you have to decide what your goal is. I was like, screw goals. I don't care about goals. Again, the thing I want to do is expend energy. And the thing I want to do is like, I want to take a project to full completion and see what full completion is. That is the sole desire. So it's like, if I start something, I want to finish it. I want to properly see how far it goes. And partly because I know otherwise I'll abandon ship on everything I do. And so I might as well just like commit to seeing how far this thing can go and be developed and like what the next step is. And then like when I think I've reached the peak of that, or if I feel like I've reach my personal deep peak of that, which is beyond just the like, oh, this is hard now feeling, then cool, I'll look for the next thing. But like, what else am I doing with my time? Like sure, I could learn how to code, but that really doesn't seem that useful anymore. Like you have Cursor to do that for you, Cursor will basically code up your whole website. So it's like, at this point, just like, I don't know, it's really the question of just like, what do you like doing? And then spend your time doing that thing to the best of your ability. And if anything, if you want to put a line on like, not even like what do you owe the world? That's just a silly concept. It's like impossible to answer. But like, what do you, and not even legacy, but just like, yeah, like be proud of the thing you're putting out. Like, Aristotle has one of my favorite quotes, which is happiness is excellence in action. And so just be excellent at what you do and then do it.
I love that. I love that quote. I had not heard that before. And I do sometimes sort of wince when I hear people say like, what about your legacy? And it's like, I'm just a person.
like dude, I'll be dead. Stuff. Like I might bet. Like I just don't want to be left out when I'm living. I don't care about my legacy when I'm dead.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I just like, I wonder how many of the people that I really appreciate, how much of them are like, my legacy. I'm doing this for my legacy. It seems like they just want to get something out.
Yeah, no, I mean, low key, I don't think that many artists, I mean, sure, maybe some artists think about legacy, but let's be real. These days, legacy is driven by the technology that you're building. Like, I'm sure Mark Zuckerberg is thinking about his legacy. I'm sure Elon Musk is thinking about his legacy.
Absolutely.
But like,
but I don't like those guys.
Exactly. Yeah. Those guys are like ego driven and kind of like, dictating the world on that. With that mindset. But I think like dropping the legacy and like maybe at one point art had more of legacy. Maybe I haven't been around enough. I've been around tech people with large egos. Maybe I haven't been around enough art people with large egos. But I think that legacy hopefully has a different meaning in the world of like just creation of fun things.
Sure. Yeah. I once heard a pastor say in a sermon, like, think about your legacy, what legacy you leave behind. And I was like, what?
Yeah, you're like, I'm leaving this church. Sorry.
It's sort of like, why is this? I thought it literally is supposed to be about Jesus. So why is my legacy supposed to be important to like a conscious thing that I'm living my life on? It's just kind of odd, but whatever.
Yeah. Like, did Jesus think about legacy? Because he's got kind of the best legacy going. So like, that's the question,
That's a good point. All right. Well, we're at the end of the episode, unfortunately, because it's been great talking to you.
Yeah, it's been so fun.
Yeah. Let's create something together, though. And I wonder if it's like, this is a good time for another advice one, because I am curious now that you have had this experience creating something, putting a concerted effort into creating, getting serious about it, like you said, and then traveling it around the world. And now it's going to be a TV show coming out soon. So what advice would you have for people who are really just trying to like get themselves together, figure out what it is they want to do and how they want to do it, how they want to be serious about it? Like what advice do you have just to sort of figure those things out?
Yeah, I'll steal a piece of advice from one of my favorite creators, Casey Neistat, who said on a line, he said, on a podcast, he said, you can do anything you want in the world. It'll just take 10 years. And I think this is like the perfect way to think about things. There's so many people that are like, oh, I'm going to start a podcast. Oh, I'm actually going to do this. And it's like, if you're down to literally do it every single day for, let's start with a year at first, then do it. And if you're not, it's not don't do it. It's just know where it falls within your life. Be realistic about the effort that you put into the things that you're doing and then like how that output will manifest. I think New York is the epitome of an ADD city where there are so many opportunities. You want to do everything all at once, which is wonderful. But at the end of the day, have you been running in circles doing everyone else's everything? And have you just been like convincing yourself that you're doing things, or are you actually doing things? Take a picture of your current reality. Do not leave things out. Be so fully aware of where you are in the present, in the reality. And then like decide, okay, am I the person who's down to commit to this thing wholeheartedly for this amount of time? Or am I going to have 10 side hobbies and just do them for fun? And there's no wrong answer. It's just a matter of placing yourself in reality, because especially with social media and all of this stuff, it's so easy to exist outside of what is truly actually true in your life.
Yes, I love that. There it is.
There it is. Hey man, that'll be $100. That was pretty good wisdom. Not bad right there.
Yeah, we'll put your Venmo in the
my Bitcoin address. Come on, Jason,
yes.
You had it. You could have, right there.
Thanks so much for being on the podcast, Viv.
Appreciate it. Absolutely.
Look out for Viv's show, The Crypto Castle, on December 3rd. You can find it on the site decentralized.pictures or on Instagram at The Crypto Castle. Follow Viv on Instagram at Viv Ford. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Threads at There It Is Pod, and subscribe to our YouTube channel at There It Is, and follow me on Instagram and Threads at Jason Farr Pics. Also subscribe to our comedy lifestyle newsletter and support us if you can. We have a Patreon and a PayPal. Go to thereitispod.com for newsletter and support info, links in bio. Until next time, be good to each other. It's a moral imperative.
The music for the theme song was created by Neil Brooks. The rap was written and performed by Nick Acevedo. The logo for There It Is was created by Jeff Prater. The There It Is podcast is produced by Jason Farr.